Hey there, YouTube friends. Masked Bandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. We are back in BroNation Studios for the next episode, episode 3. And we are still in this little entrance plaza here. I thought I would go ahead and really, before I move on, I wanted to get this absolutely nailed down. I wanted all the details there, and I wanted it to feel as complete as I could. So we're gonna take the time to get it looking good and get it feeling right. And so the last episode was the left side with the first aid building and Mountain Mike's Cali Bistro, I think is what I ended up calling it. And now today we're on the other side, the right side, which is where Rubih's diner is, as well as we're going to have a staff area. And we're also going to put in some restrooms in this area. And I wanted these two teal buildings that flank the entrance here to not be symmetrical, but I wanted them to be similar. And you'll see here some of the same details. I try some of the adventure pieces first. I like this. I like the details in those adventure pieces, and I'm going to find a way to use them further on down the main street. But for this building, I wanted to keep it this sleek, retro deco thing with the stucco and the clean lines, and so that's why we went ahead and said we kind of just went with something similar to what the other side had, and we'll do more experimenting as we progress down into the main street area. So yeah, so this project is going way slower than I ever anticipated going. I think I might have mentioned that in the last episode, but I also mentioned how much fun I'm having. This is totally not in my element, and I'm loving it. I've been doing lots of research. I've fallen down the ye old YouTube rabbit hole with this park. I just watched some videos about Hollywood Studios, about where it's at now, the history of it, and the attractions that used to be there, and what it looks like now, and all that jazz. And it's fast. It's interesting. I don't know a lot about this park. I mean, I know what rides are there. I know it has Rock and Roller Coaster, and I know it has Tower of Terror and Star Tours and all that. And I know it's going to be getting Galaxy's Edge and the Toy Story Land and all that. But I didn't know much about it other than it was the, quote, Universal of Disney. And yeah, so it's been really interesting finding out a lot about it. And it's given me some good ideas about things that I do want and things I don't want in the park. So yeah, I think it's always good to learn more. Tell you what though, it doesn't. I was watching some videos today. I don't think I'd need to go to that park. Like, it seems as if there's only a few attractions that are worth going to right now. One of the things that I've been looking forward to, is taking my kids to Disney. My kids are still really young. My oldest is 4. And I was fortunate enough to get to go to Disney several times growing up. We took vacations to Florida every year to visit some family. So we went to Disney more often than not. So I'm quite fortunate in that regard. But that's not something that I'm going to be able to do with my kids. So probably going to end up taking my kids once, and probably when they're around 8. And I was just thinking about how much change Disney's having recently. With all the things, all the IP heavy stuff they're doing. And I was so excited to bring my kid to Disney, and now I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like, my kid will love it, no doubt. Like, my kid, especially my daughter, she'll love all the princess stuff and all that. But as a theme park enthusiast, as someone who appreciated Disney for all it was, and granted I haven't been there in a long time, I don't think I'm really on board with all the changes they're making and the direction they're headed with all their IPs. Kind of bums me out a little bit. Like, I just don't think that when we go, I'm going to enjoy it. Now, granted, that's not for like 4 more years, but I don't think that's what I'm going to be. I don't think I'm going to be as excited for it as I was initially. So, and I know that's way off topic here, but I don't know how much you want me to talk about a building that essentially looks like the same building across the way. So yeah, this is something that came in that I've been thinking a lot about researching for this part, because it is so obviously a ripoff of Hollywood Studios. So yeah, I've been trying to learn as much as I can and trying to get it to feel like that park does. And in the process, I've learned some things about Disney and its parks and Probably going to learn lots more. I had a bummer of a time getting this only sign. I couldn't get it the same size as the cast member font, so I removed it. So there's our cast member entrance. One thing I've been noticing is, at least in this entrance area of Hollywood Studios, it's not nearly as heavily detailed as I thought it was going to be. The exteriors, at least, and that stucco-looking thing, not nearly as detailed as I thought it was going to be. So if you're thinking it looks a little bland, I encourage you to do some street view and really check out that entrance area. It's heavily trafficked, and as such, it doesn't look so hot compared to the like Main Street, whatever it's called. I don't know, whatever Hollywood street it's named after. Clearly, I haven't done enough research. So yeah, you saw me plop in some bushes and plants there to beef up that entrance, the raccoon, Brody. His name is Brody. I'm officially going with Brody the raccoon for our mascot of this park. I'm probably going to end up redoing him. If you're on BroNation, hopefully you saw, and I think it was Thursday, I posted a picture. I drew I was bored. We were doing testing, and my kids were done, so I knew we just sit there for hours. So I let them draw, and I drew a picture of Brody the raccoon. So I kind of like it. Also, really dug this planter here. I think this turned out really, really well. So I'm really happy. Little detail, but super pumped about it. Decided to go ahead and start throwing around some little details, even though we're not ready for them yet, just to kind of start getting an idea of what this area is going to start to look like once we're actually there. So I'm kind of digging it. A little break in the time lapse now. We're heading into making the restrooms, and this is about as forward of an interior as we're going to get. If the door is open, my plan is to have an interior, except for the restrooms. I'm not going to make like sinks and stuff. So if you were hoping for that level of detail, not going to happen. So I have this faux interior here, and other restrooms will probably just have doors. But for this first one, I thought we'd do it. Go ahead and bust out the custom water fountain. A lot of the technique there is from Ryan, CTRSIND, who helped us with BroCoaster and is just killing it with his studios park on BroNation. Oh my gosh, it's Celebrity, I think is what he has it called. It's incredible. It's so good. He asked me actually about streaming software. I don't know if he plans on streaming that park, but if he does, I'm out of a job. Not that I get paid for this, but if he does, I'm toast. It's that good. So anyway, this restroom, taking cues from the other buildings, but I'm trying to keep it a little simpler. I kind of really dig this color scheme, this kind of pink and like kind of goldenrod. I don't know if is that goldenrod. I don't know. I like that color scheme. One of the things I'm going to want to be doing is pulling from, I think it's Napier, New Zealand. It's this old town. It's this town that was destroyed by an earthquake, I think. And they rebuilt it in this deco style like this. And it's incredible. And one of the first things I built in Planet Coaster with the alpha or the beta, I can't remember, is I built an Art Deco Main Street, which is what I'm pulling for inspiration as far as in-game stuff. So I'd like to revisit some of those structures because I think they'd look spectacular in this area. So you could be ready for that. Excuse me, I thought I heard my son crying. I do not, so we shall plow ahead. These new tile walls are going to come in real handy. I wish we had more variety. I wish we had the full complement of wall set with them. They would be so incredibly valuable if we had that. So as it is, we've just got just a few pieces, just enough to tease, you know? So, but that restroom's coming along, filling out some planters. The one thing about a Disney park, though, is every area does have detail and does look nice. Even the areas close to the backstage or the behind the corner areas, they're not as heavily detailed, but they still look nice. So I have to really keep that in mind because one of the things I really don't mind doing in like a Conifer Slopes is letting areas look kind of grungy because a lot of local non-master plan parks like that look kind of grungy in places, but Disney parks tend not to do that. Or I should say Disney-inspired parks, because technically this is not a Disney park. Then, it becomes time to start tackling this interior, and this interior is a nightmare. I just mentioned him, Ryan, CCRSIND. I'm going to keep saying it. His park that he and Lone Wolf did for the Shy Guys World summer competition last summer. Wow, that was almost a year ago now. Holy crap. But anyway, the two of them did a restaurant, the Rusty Dingo. It's actually Lone Wolf's, I guess, IP, but They did a crazy counter service interior restaurant, and after I started, I actually stopped. There's a couple cuts in this recording. I stopped and went and checked out their restaurant in their park. And I'm going to be stealing some of their ideas and putting it into mine. And so that little extra hints of realism. I tried a couple things with them that with this diner that they did that just didn't work because of the layout of the building. Like the way they had some switchback line where you would grab your tray, then wait in line, grab your food, and then go pay. That's kind of how those restaurants are set up. I tried to do that, but the layout for me just wasn't cooperating. So I said, forget it. And I did some other things instead that I think end up looking pretty cool. So here you can see me. I'm going to start fiddling. And I believe none of this gets used. So you can watch me flail about for a while. The idea here is, like I said, to create a place for people to grab trays and get in line to eventually buy food. And to the left of the vendor, to the left of the chief beef, that opening, I was going to put like some food bits or something. I was basically going to completely rip off of Lone and Ryan. One of the real big struggles is a small enough piece. It's really hard to find small pieces. I actually probably underestimated how small this interior actually is. So ropes are about the only thing I found that worked. And then I just start flopping around and trying to find a way to make them work. And I go for quite a while until I realize that these suck. So indeed they do. So we will be getting rid of these eventually. So once we properly give up on the ropes and such, it's time to put in some seating. Wanted to see just what I could fit in here. Grab your trusty archer. It's time to build some booths. And I built booths once before for Conifer Slopes, probably in the very first, like, legitimate Conifer Slopes video for Planet Coaster. Yeah, in the bakery. I built booths. And these are significantly better. Yeah, I encourage you, if you want to see some growth in my design, go back and look at the booths I built for the very first episode of Conifer Slopes, and then come back and look at these. And I think you'll see a vast improvement. I know I do. So that's always exciting when you can see, oh, look, these look so much better than the first time I did it. And that's actually one of the things some people have been mentioning on BroNation. People have been kind of like, I can't build what you guys build, or I try and I get discouraged. And I said, you know, and what my advice to you, if you're struggling, if you're just blown away by what you see for other people doing, you do you. You really, it sounds cliche and stupid, but you really have to do you. Don't worry about being a Remnant or a Ryan or a Fisherman or, let's see, who else do I look up to? Or a Mike or a Mineral or a Rubih or a Lone or basically everybody that I'm partnered with. Don't worry about being one of them. Be you. Find what you like. Find what works for you. And one of the biggest things I can tell you, and I think I've mentioned this before in these videos, get away from using pieces as they're intended. I'm building tables and chairs, and there's no tables or chairs in this game. I'm using screen mounts and art shapes and poles and electric beams or whatever they're called. Find ways to use pieces in interesting ways. My cornice in this restaurant is our beams. I used gems as glass. I mean, that's what you gotta, that's what's gonna start putting you on the path to finding your own creative voice, finding new and interesting ways to use pieces, or just finding ways to use pieces as they were unintended. That's what starts to separate that's what starts to separate people. If you're curious, what I think does, and find what you're passionate about and do it, and don't care what anybody else is doing. Put your stuff up there for critique. Don't be afraid of critique, especially if you're a member of BroNation. I'd like to think we're quite helpful and friendly. I've seen lots of great people make great comments and great critique. I've seen lots of new people that haven't been active recently hopping on and starting to share their work, and that makes me so happy. If you're on the server and you're not active, because you're nervous about it, put your stuff out there, put it out, and tell us, hey, I'm new and I'm trying to learn. And we'll be more than happy to help you figure out what your voice is and what you're going to be good at and how you can maximize the time and the amount of effort you want to put in. Because some people might not want to make a custom soda machine like this. You might not have the time nor desire to do that. Don't blame you. But we can find what you do like, and you can find what you do like. And you can go off and really enjoy yourself and start feeling good about what you're building and feeling fulfilled by it. So that's probably going to do it for my soapbox for the day. And we're actually at the end of our video here, so I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all for the next episode of BroNation. Have a great day, great night, great whatever, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye, everyone.